get the impression that with each ensuing, each of the following controversies, there's just less and less interest in what they're doing.
Well, first of all, Kieran, give us a sense of your piece about Harry and Meghan, how they're finding Montecito, how Montecito's finding them. Is there trouble in paradise?
Get the impression that some people in Montecito are quite sick of the Harry and Meghan circus. This is a celebrity enclave, the likes of Oprah, Kevin Costner. They all live up there. It's this beautiful town on the California's Pacific coast, just right next to Santa Barbara. People I spoke to yesterday, no one has any malice towards Harry and Meghan, but you just get the impression that they're sort of tired of the circus around them, and every time that something happens, journalists such as myself end up um, going up there, and as I say, it's a celebrity enclave, so they're just so used to these A-list celebrities that there's no novelty there, and yeah, get the impression that they wish the circus would leave town for many of them.
Well, that's interesting because there's always this sense, isn't there, with celebrity, with Hollywood, that the trends move on quite quickly. And when they first moved out to the West Coast, there was a lot of interest, and I'm sure a lot of interest in America. Are you saying really that is died down now?
Yeah, certainly I don't think the interest is what it was. Maybe it can come back if the Hollywood exploits really take off. They've got some projects in the pipeline at Netflix, but there's only so many times you can sort of ride the wave of a controversy. We had the Oprah interview in 2021. That was a huge deal. Oprah also lives in Montecito. That was a huge deal. But I get the impression that with each ensuing, each of the following controversies, there's just less and less interest in what they're doing. But I understand that Harry and Meghan sort of have to keep the names in the headlines. If they do attempt to crack Hollywood, and publicity is a huge tool for them. But certainly in Montecito this week, even the new book that's come out, Endgame, that's made headlines in the UK, not even on sale in the local bookshop in Montecito. And the owner told me that no one had asked for it, and the people who I interviewed had no interest in reading it.
Wow, that is fascinating. I mean, that says quite a lot. I mean, what do you think Harry and Meghan will have made of the reaction to that new book by Omid Scobie? As you mentioned, it's been creating headlines a lot in the UK this week. We don't have to go into all the ins and outs of it, but in terms of the reaction, will they have noticed? Will they care? Will they be satisfied? How do you think they'll be feeling?
Oh, probably the $1 million question. You can't imagine they'll be surprised by the reaction. Certainly the UK reaction. Harry especially knows the UK media very well, and I think you'll have both expected this book would make a lot of headlines. It's an open question how much they knew of the book before it was published. A lot of reports say the author, Omid Scobie, is quite close to Meghan. He denies this. Um, but even if they had no idea of what was going to be in the book, they'll have known it'll have included things that'll have made a lot of headlines and a lot of controversy. So they'll have anticipated this, and you know, who knows if they're happy or sad or how they're feeling about the reaction. But you've got to expect that they knew there would be a huge reaction, certainly in the UK, more so than in America.
And what about how Harry and Meghan are finding Montecito these days? They've been there a few years now. Okay, maybe their neighbours are a bit bored of them. Are they bored of Montecito?
Well, there are sort of rumours that they're wanting to move to Los Angeles. Montecito is about 90 minutes on a good day, a 90-minute drive from Los Angeles, about just over 2 hours, 2.5 in rush hour. And it's quite removed from Hollywood, where they're trying to build a career. it would make sense in to some degree if the were tired of Montecito and decided you need to move to LA to give this a proper go, but at the same time there'd be huge drawbacks. This is the sort of HQ of the paparazzi, and you can only imagine what the couple's critics would say if they moved to LA. About how they've been calling for privacy all these years, and yet now they're moving to sort of the heart of America's entertainment industry. I spoke to a couple of people at cafes and shops that Meghan's been spotted at yesterday. They said, she seems nice enough, and it seems that she enjoys herself in Montecito. So who knows? But those rumours about a move to LA, they keep surfacing.
Do you think Harry's happy?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, he's got two beautiful kids. He's got a wife. Um, as I saw yesterday, live in a very beautiful house. Um, you would hope he would be happy. Because if not, what can make him happy if not living in paradise with his family?
But I mean, it could be the old adage of the gilded cage. I mean, there are lots of celebrities who lead very glamorous lifestyles, but it doesn't bring them the fulfillment they might want. And yes, you mentioned, hopefully his family is bringing him great joy. But you do wonder whether he's as happy out there as maybe she is.
Yeah, I mean, that's another sort of persistent, I suppose, speculation, because we've not heard it directly from Harry, but people saying Meghan seems much more interested in building a life in Hollywood than Harry does. And, what interest has Harry got in producing film and television shows for Netflix? But until we hear directly from Harry, it is just speculation, I suppose. We'll have to wait for Spare 2 before we know for certain.
Just finally, Kieran, you make Montecito sound lovely. How much roughly would a house set me back
Oh,
there?
obviously depends on the size, but I would imagine off the top of my head you'd be looking at very basically 5 million. It's quite an interesting community because you have got the Oprahs, the Kevin Costners, the Prince Harrys, the Katy Perrys. Funny enough, this week I saw Katy Perry's dad just walking around the town square. So it is a celebrity enclave, but you've also got people. I spoke to people who've lived there since the 1960s. So they're sort of millionaires on paper, but these are just ordinary folks who, work at the local bookstore or work at the local cafe. There's notice boards in the middle of the town, people putting up like dog walking services and stuff like that. It does seem a real sense of community there. So it's not just a soulless sort of collection of celebrity. There is an actual sense of community there. So I can imagine that Harry and Meghan actually quite like it.